see if this works with the beautiful internet that we have here. Yes, things can actually get slower than Time Warner. Didn't think I'd ever see the day, but it can happen. It can happen. Oh God, I think it actually has happened. Dropped. Wow, that's some frame drop right there. Huh? There we go. Okay, 500 kilobytes a second. Okay, let's see if this works. What do we have? It's trying. Oh, here we go. I'm in the wrong window. Restream, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me, Restream? Is that an Ariana Grande song I'm thinking of, or no, that's Charlie Puth being covered by Emma Heasters. What are you doing to me? What are you doing? Ah, I can't sing. I sing horribly. All right, so you got me at 1500 kilobit per second. You should feel lucky for every single one of those kilobits. I fought for each and every one. I fought hard for each and every one. Let me see if I can get chat to work. Oh my God, my chat window hasn't even loaded yet. Wow. Whoa. Okay, put this in the corner, like so. Are you taking red shirt tips from Tom Scott? No, my luggage was lost, so I had to buy all new clothes. And this was one of the things that was available at like 11 o'clock at night outside of my hotel. Hello, Mario, how are you? What ply toilet paper do you use? I prefer the use of a bidet. I'm not a big fan of toilet paper myself, but when I do use toilet paper, I tend to use toilet paper that's not going to break up in bits and pieces inside of there, if you know what I'm saying, like most garbage toilet paper does. Hello, Kevin, Tommy. How have you been, Mohammed? I've been all right. Why aren't you making repairs? What are you, my boss? Get out of here. Why aren't you doing... Mind your business. Mind your business. Because when I make repairs, you don't actually watch them. None of you are here to watch repairs. That's obvious. Stop virtue signaling. I am not making repairs because I am not at work. Actually, many hundreds of miles away from work. Thousands, actually. When will the U.S. stomach soldiers in Ukraine? I don't know. It's really difficult to do that because there was a big cost to getting out of Afghanistan, and there was a lot of PR fallout from that. But the whole idea behind that is we're not going to send troops to die for somebody else anymore. You know that. So if you send troops to another country so soon after you withdraw from Afghanistan, it just kind of, I don't know. It kind of sours the mood a little bit, I think. No ITC. We are split. Let's see. Restream gonna restrain your voice. We still getting drop frames? Ooh, 6,000 drop frames. Ouch. That's a lot of drop frames. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'll lower bitrate again. Here we go. Let's lower it to 1500. We need a singing stream. Now, Lewis, what do you think is the chance of someone who hasn't done much micro soldering before to start board repairs? Well, I think it's a trick question that you just asked me because everybody at some point did not micro solder but then started doing board repairs. I didn't micro solder before I started doing board repairs. I had to learn. Now, it took me a really long time. It took me quite a bit of time to work up the ability, not just the ability, but the confidence. See, the confidence had to come first, and the ability kind of came later. Usually, it's supposed to be the opposite. Usually, you should be, oh my, that is 8,000 drop frames. Jeez. You're supposed to get the ability and then be confident, but you need some level of confidence to be able to actually start doing something worthwhile, I find. If you're 33 and unemployed, what's the best thing to get certified in now from scratch? I can't answer stuff like that. Eli, the computer guy, would answer that by saying, banana, whatever, or butter brickle. I can't tell you what flavor of ice cream to get, man. Are there vax mandates or mask requirements in New York? I don't know. I'm very, very far away from New York right now. I'm actually very far away from New York and happy. Have you been working out? Yes, but I've been working out for about 16 years. It's just recently I've been working out much more. I started in mid-January. I started doing something in addition to my normal routine, which is 2 additional hours of cardio a day on top of what I already do. So at this point, I've lost about 13 pounds, 13 or 14 pounds in about a month and a half. And I plan to lose quite a bit more. So I'm not getting bigger. It's actually, I'm getting smaller, so the muscle that already exists looks bigger. But that is an optical illusion. And don't be fooled by that optical illusion. I have an offer from Google, but I need to move to another country. Would you do that? Well, is the offer good enough, Patrick? That's the real question. As a Brooklyn-born native that owns a repair shop in Missouri, you're my idol. Thank you for everything you do for Right to Repair. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. I hope I'm not. I don't know. I don't feel like I've earned the being anybody's idol, to be honest with you, but I'll take it. And I hope your repair shop in Missouri is doing really well. What part of Brooklyn are you from? Put it in the normal chat. Don't pay again. What part of Brooklyn are you from? I'm curious. I was in Bed-Stuy. What's your stance on the invasion in Ukraine? I think Putin has overstepped. I'm not obviously going to war is overstepping, but I mean, I think he's overstepped his own ability. If NATO were to actually come out and do something, he's done. And I think again, to be clear, don't get your foreign policy from me. For the love of everything, don't get your foreign policy from me. That's an area where I fundamentally have no clue what I'm talking about. But from everything that I've read and everything that I've researched, it really does seem like NATO would just wipe the floor with him. And if they decided to actually do anything, and I'm honestly very surprised at this point that Ukraine hasn't gotten more help from outside than they have at this point. I think that if Putin were to continue or to actually make some sort of coordinated strike, if NATO were to get involved, that I imagine his own generals at that point would say, dude, we're not listening to you anymore. Like, no, I'm sorry. I know you need to get better ratings in your country, but no. But again, please do not get your foreign policy from me. Anything exciting planned for the weekend? I don't have anything planned for the weekend, and that's the idea of getting away. I don't plan things when I go on vacation. I very rarely, if ever, go on vacation because I'm kind of a basket case. I need to always have something to do to keep my mind busy, and if I don't keep my mind busy, I become a basket case, which is why I don't usually take vacations. But the purpose of this one is to very specifically have no plan in mind, no plans, and I've been enjoying that. Your bag was actually lost. Yes, this is why I usually drive. When people said, like, why didn't you drive? Why didn't you take a plane when you went to Miami last week? Why did you actually drive? I despise dealing with airlines. I don't like dealing with airlines. I don't like watching people board a plane. It's very depressing, and it demonstrates how we haven't really evolved as much as a species as people like to think. I hate watching people dismount airplanes. That's also incredibly depressing. I don't like waiting in line to check in my bag. I don't like waiting in line to get a ticket. I don't like waiting in line to show my ID. I don't like waiting in line to get my bag and then waiting in line at the place that deals with it when your bag is stolen. It's just, I don't like dealing with airports. I don't like the whole process. I want to get in my car, go someplace, when I'm done, immediately get out of my car. And honestly, even if it takes 3 times as long, if I don't have to deal with the TSA breaking my camera lens, the baggage people stealing my bag, maybe, again, you can say I have an independence fetish or whatever, fine. I like being in control of where I'm going and what I'm doing. It's why I would rather ride an electric bicycle that looks like a bomb than take the train in New York City. I don't know. And the same thing applies to planes. I like knowing where my bag is, you know? I like not having to take my shoes and my belt off and then have to rush to put everything back on. But anyway, with the majority of the Ukraine-Russia news videos being fake or highly misleading, I'm so confused on what to believe. What sources do you recommend? You shouldn't go by my sources when it comes to this because again, when it comes to foreign policy, I am absolutely beyond clueless, and I guarantee I'm going to mislead you. I'm most likely going to mislead you. I just get a lot from reading Bloomberg, and what I do is usually like Bloomberg will link to a bunch of other actual primary sources, and I'll just read through all that. Let's see. What else was there? I honestly don't really. The thing is, if you look at just about every news source, you'll get close to the truth. Like there's WEON or something in India. I actually watched a little bit of what Russia was saying about their You didn't tell people you're in Russia fighting for the Red Army? No, I'm not. My downstairs neighbor from me where I live actually did a documentary on the 2016 election, but it was very interesting because what he did is he did the documentary through the lens of Russian state media. So he was covering the 2016 election based on how it was covered in Russia. So he was only using clips from Russian protests, Russian media, Russian podcasters, and all that kind of stuff to kind of give you an idea of how the rest of the world perceives America. And sometimes it's kind of fun to do that. Sometimes it's actually just kind of fun to just look into the propaganda that a country uses for its citizens, and then, weigh that against everything else. In my opinion, you're never going to, when it comes to what's going on in another region of the world, if you're not on the ground, like for instance, in America, you can disagree with my political opinions, you can disagree with my takes on COVID stuff or protest stuff or anything else, but at the end of the day, I'm actually there, Like, I lived in New York City, I ran a business in New York City through riots, through protests, through police stuff, through COVID, all that stuff. So at the end of the day, my opinion is based on what I see on the ground. And you may think that that's a poor opinion or form based on something you don't like, but I actually experienced it. When it comes to foreign stuff, it's very difficult because I'm not there. I have no idea. So, I find reading as many things as possible that are as diametrically opposed as possible helps me get a full picture and some more of a general understanding. What do you think of Starlink and the fact that every single bit of data from it will be run through Google's data centers? I think that people that are desperate enough to need Starlink because they live in the middle of nowhere are so desperate that they won't even care if Google's spying on them. And to be honest with you, Google's spying on so much of everything right now. It's very difficult to avoid. But the thing is with, like for instance, I have a friend that gets DSL. She gets 768 down, 128 up. That's what she pays for. What she actually gets is closer to like 200 or 300 down and like 50 up. She would probably let Google spy on her if she actually got a real internet connection. I'm not saying it's right, but I think we kind of crossed that bridge in 2004. I was very surprised when Gmail came out, because when Gmail came out, what was very interesting with Gmail was that they said openly, we're going to have a bot searching through your email. There's going to be a bot searching, but you'll be able to have an email attachment that's 16 or 30 megabytes, and you'll have a gig of storage. And people just gave up their privacy just like that to get a gigabyte of free storage. Like, that was it. To buy the average general member of the public's privacy was a gigabyte of storage. And I thought, what, are you kidding me? People are going to regret this down the line. And I went along with it like everybody else because Yahoo had crappier email size limits. And I was very surprised at it. So, giving somebody a gigabyte when they have a good internet connection, if that's all it takes to get rid of their privacy, you bet that if you tell somebody who has horrible internet that, if they have dial-up and now they can have broadband, but it's going to go through Google servers, I think people will swallow that hook, line, and sinker. But again, I could always be wrong. I was one of the people saying, I can't believe that the iPhone actually made it past the first generation. Who's going to want a phone without a keyboard? So when it comes to predicting things in technology, I'm really, really bad. On a scale of 1 to 10, where's New York City these days? I don't know because I'm not there. You notice when I start these videos that I have a smile on my face? Part of the reason I have the smile on my face? Because I'm not in New York City. You look like an actual tech YouTuber. No, you must have me mistaken with somebody else. I'm not a tech. I don't do tech. I wear a red shirt and I roar at the camera. Hope you're doing okay, Louis. I'm doing lovely, Andy. I've had better evenings, but I'm doing fine. I have a weird sound coming out of my MacBook, but it's the work MacBook. Do something about it or nah? Figure it out, man. Figure it out. Is inflation impacting you, and are you worried financially for the rest of the year? I am, and I think, it impacts anybody. It impacts anybody that it really does. Like, I don't know who it doesn't impact. I think I worry about these things more than I should, and I also think that I worry a lot about things that I cannot control more than I should, and that's something that I'm looking to address with this vacation. It's also something that I've been looking to address with my new exercise routine. One of the things that I noticed is if I add 2 hours of cardio on top of my weightlifting routine, I don't have the ability to worry about things that I can't control anymore. My mother was a very, I'm not going to put it in the stream, but she had this very strange woman, but she had this one thing on the wall: God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, or whatever. It was like a list of 3 things, and I forget what they all were. But the general idea was to accept that there are certain things you cannot change, know what you can change, and have the wisdom to understand the difference between it and just deal with it. And there are many things that I worry about. In addition to that, I had emails arrive a week after I sent with Yahoo. I haven't logged into a Yahoo email since 2003. I wish I remember the password to it, but I don't. But when it comes to worry, like, one of the things that's really after doing 2 hours of cardio in a day with intervals, what I do is I do these. So I'll do, cardio on an elliptical, or I'll go running. And then what I'll do is I'll try to get my heart rate above 170 for 30 to 50 seconds at a time. I'll try to hit 170, I'll do a sprint, but I'll try to get up over 170 and keep it there for 5 or 10 seconds, and then go back down to 130 to 140. And then I'll just do my normal cardio for another 20 minutes, do another interval, do it for another 5 minutes, another interval, and I'll do that for 2 hours. And if I do that enough, there's literally nothing left to worry. And I like it, because what I've noticed is since I did that, so bench press, my max ever was 285. I haven't gone down from it, even though I've lost 14 pounds. Deadlift, max ever was 365. Haven't gone, that's normal. Trap bar was 405, normal deadlift 365 or 375. I think it was 365. I'll aim on the low side. Max squat I think was 330. Yeah, for the 3 big lifts. And I haven't gone down since losing. My main goal was just to not go down since losing 14 pounds. But yeah, what I noticed is that like when it comes to worrying, doing that level of exercise has taken away a lot of my anxiety about everything. Because there's a lot of things I can't control. Like for instance, I've been getting audited for 7 months by New York State. And, I provided them every single piece of information they asked for. They asked for 22 or 23 different forms of documentation. And they've got it all. And they're still just digging. Again, there are things that I can't control in life. And like, what do you do about it? You could worry. You could lose your hair. You could have your hair turn gray. You could become wrinkled. I mean, if anybody who has the ability to arrange my videos by oldest to newest can obviously tell that I've chosen all of the above in some cases. But one of the things that is also helpful is what I got out of exercise is I just literally can't. I'm too worn out to actually worry. And it actually feels good at the end of it. Like it does feel good at the end of that. Like after the end of 2 hours of that, where I've gotten my heart rate up to 170 to 175, like 5 or 10 times, there's not much worrying left to do at that point. What is the quality of contemporary ThinkPads like the T and X1 series? I've always liked the T and the X1 series. It looks like Lenovo has been going more in the direction of, more soldered in stuff, less repairability. That doesn't make me happy, but I do like the build quality of that. Again, I haven't seen the most recent ones. The last one that I saw was like ancient, like a T450 or a T460 around there. What is the YouTube live channel? This is the main YouTube channel. I have a YouTube live channel where I just throw random junk. Admittedly, the stream is kind of random junk. Lewis Rossmann live random. Haven't seen Eric in a while. Did you two part ways? Yes, we did. We have parted ways in the past and always tried to, try again because, it's one of those weird things where when you have an ex, but like you don't hate them, it's very easy to kind of like just try again, Like there are relationships I've had where the person I was with just fundamentally was cruel, mean, horrible in some certain way. And when I say I'm done, it's really easy to just leave and like bye because they were horrible to you. But when somebody's actually nice to you, it's like really nice, kind, and caring, it's just you are fundamentally in every way romantically incompatible. It's very easy to say, no, okay, let's have a sit down talk for an hour, work this stuff out, and try again. And then at some point, it just becomes obvious that it's not going to work. But yeah, we are separated. We are broken up. And I really do hope that she finds someone that she is romantically compatible with. I hope she finds somebody that makes her very happy. And I wish her a lovely life. I really do. Like, again, I can't say this for every woman I've dated. Hell, I can't say this for most women I've dated. But again, if she got married, I would go to her wedding. If she had a baby shower, I would go to her baby shower. I'd be happy for her. I'd be happy to be there. Again, I can't say that for most, but I can say that for her. She's a really good human being. And I hope that she finds happiness with some other guy. I'm going to the grocery store later today. Which ice cream should I buy? Butter Brickle. Eli, the computer guy, will never tell you which ice cream to buy, but I will. Butter Brickle. I assume the best to do is just take the broken laptop PCBs at my work. By the way, I'm 12 minutes behind on chat for anybody who's curious. Did you try Mechal soldering irons in your work? No, never. I assume the best bet is to just take the broken laptop PCBs at my work, which are going to recycle anyway in practice. Maybe try fixing some of them after practice. That's a great way to do it. And what I would do is start small. Start really small. Like take an Acer 5517 motherboard that costs, $15 if even, that works, and literally just take a chip off and then put it back on. And then when you put it back on, confirm that it works. What you want to do is you want to build your confidence slowly because you need a rush of dopamine in your head to actually not get discouraged when trying something new. A lot of people think that I'm really smart. I assure you I'm not really smart. And if you think I'm smart, just watch these videos and you will learn very quickly that I am a moron. That one of the reasons I keep up all of my old videos in this channel is so that people can actually rewind 8 or 9 years and see, like, wow, he sucks at this. Like, he's really bad at board repair. Now that, wow, he's good. I want you to see the journey. I want you to see the improvement so that you understand for yourself that we don't start out very smart. We start out pretty bad, and most people start out pretty bad. So what you need to do is you need to build up your confidence, because if you have no confidence, you're not going to try again, and you need to try again to get better. You need to suck in the beginning in order to get better and better and better and better with time. That's very necessary. So what I think you should do is get something really basic that already works. Like maybe buy 5 Acer 5517, something that's a real piece of junk. And what you're going to do with that Acer 5517 is you are going to literally just take a chip off, put it back on. I know how to solder a 0402 resistor. Yes. Okay. Let's take a QFN off and put it back on. Actually, no, let's take a 8-legged chip off, something with legs. Take it off, put it back on. Still work? Yes. All right. See, getting yourself pumped up with each one. Okay, now I'm going to try for a QFN. Take the QFN off, put it back on, doesn't work. But you have some confidence because you took those pass-through things off and it works, so you know that you're not useless. See, if you start out with something hard and you fail, keep failing, keep trying, keep failing, you feel like you're useless. I can't do anything. You'll start that negative self-talk and then you won't learn. But if you start with something really, really basic and simple and slowly build on it and go from there. Then when it comes to troubleshooting, when you buy a dead something, what you always want to do is you want to buy a couple of working so that you have known good parts. So A, you can measure how does the working system work and compare it to the broken one. You need a frame of reference. Secondly, you also, if you have buy 3 or 4 working systems and one broken, you can now take parts from the working system and put it in the broken and know that that is a known good part. Now, this is also why you're not going to start with the latest M1 MacBook Pro unless you're independently wealthy, because if you do it with that, you'll go bankrupt. You start off with something cheap, junky, old. That's what eBay's for. Getting buff. I am not getting buff. I am actually losing weight. It is an optical illusion. I have lost 14 pounds. Can I ask you a question about tools? Yes, but I will answer it 13 minutes later because I'm behind in chat. Airlines are greater than crappy driver dodging. I don't know. That's part of the fun, honestly. I was actually streaming my drives. I drove for about 18 or 23 hours the other day, and I streamed my drives, and I also streamed the breaks and the naps that I was taking, including stopping at some random hotel for a Caesar salad. But yeah, I find that's honestly kind of fun because, again, one of the things that keeps me from falling asleep on a long drive is, the game of, oh, I think you're not going to use your turn signal. Or, oh, you're not going to use your turn signal. Let me dodge you. That's what kind of makes it fun. Do you think having to do something is distracting you from addressing potential mental health issues? I think having something to do is not distracting me from addressing potential mental health issues. I think it's the escape from it, really. I think a lot of people do that. I think that's why a lot of the people that accomplish a lot wind up being nuts. And I think a lot of the people that accomplish a lot that wind up being nuts later in life were already nuts. They just needed something to do to avoid that. They needed something to do to avoid dealing with their issues that they did not know how to solve. So they try to fix other problems. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. Have you ever tried body surfing at the ocean? You forget about everything when the wave takes you in. No, I can have fun on the beach for 5 or 10 minute intervals, but after the 5 or 10 minutes is up, the novelty is gone on me and I just kind of want to go do something else or walk around. I don't want to spend a lot of time in the water. What are these black bars in your camera from time to time? Because I always think my display broke. I don't know. I wouldn't, again, I wouldn't be surprised if that broke on the way here. I'm too cheap to buy another camera though. What's a topic you would not mislead us on outside of usual content? I don't know. I don't know. I know the topics where I'm a complete idiot, and I really do try to say I'm a complete idiot in the beginning, but I don't intend to mislead people. But if I get asked a question about something and I genuinely know I'm 100% clueless, not even 90% clueless, but 100%, I'm just going to tell you. I'm here for board repairs, but stick around because you're an honest one. Thank you. I still got 660 something board repair videos if any of you are interested. I know you haven't watched all of them. I guarantee you haven't watched all of them, and there's a lesson to be learned in each and every one. But thank you very much. Also, if you're interested in board repairs, I would suggest you check out TCRS Circuit, STS Telecom, iPad Rehab, VCC Board Repairs, Paul Daniels. Yeah, Paul Daniels, VCC Board Repairs, STS Telecom, iPad Rehab, TCRS Circuit. There's a lot of good board repair channels out there. Thank you very much, Gigi. I really appreciate that. I think that you should check out those channels because, again, I've done my over 600 board repair videos. I got over 1 million subscribers. I really would like to pass the torch on to somebody else at this point. I did board repair videos for about 7.5 years, and after 7.5 years of doing the same thing, I am totally okay admitting that I am open for a change. I'm open to doing something new. Or just not recording the same thing over and over again. Do you think it's a good idea to ban RT from our media? I don't know. And just let people. I don't like the idea of it. I mean, I think it's important that people be able to see and understand what people in other countries are actually being told by their governments. I feel like I'm half businessing a lot of my work because I work 4 to 5 jobs, but nevertheless, I'm getting glowing reference letters when a job is finished. Thank you for the 5 chafes. And I think 4 to 5 jobs is insane. How do you possibly do decent work for all of those? That's crazy. Have you ever thought about streaming on Twitch once in a while? Yes, I'm streaming on Twitch right now, but I avoid reading their chat because, just to be mean. How many times have you been asked boxers or briefs? I much prefer boxers. Unfortunately, all I could find here were briefs, which is really bothersome because the airline lost all my luggage. Never saw it that way, says Simon, but yes, we gave up for less than $1 of today's storage. Damn, I'm 12 minutes behind. Where's the hardest business lesson you had to learn? The hardest business lesson that I ever had to learn is that the way that I go about things is very, very similar to gambling addiction. So the way that I take risks or try new things, and an actual gambling addiction is very, very close. And it's very, very easy for me to talk myself into the idea that I'm investing in a business idea when in reality I'm being a degenerate gambler. And that's one of the reasons that I really love that album, A Turn of a Friendly Card by Alan Parsons, and why it's really interesting, because I had been listening to that album for like 17 years and I didn't even realize until much after that the album was actually about gambling addiction. And then it's like, wow, okay, it added another level to it. And then it really touched me once I figured that out about it. That's a good album. But yeah, I think one of the hardest things for me is trying to tell the difference between when I'm being a degenerate gambler and when I'm being when am I being a degenerate gambler that's just YOLOing everything and potentially losing it all, and when do I actually have some sort of revolutionary great idea? Because it's a very, thank you very much, Big Brain. Because it's a very small number of your ideas that are actually going to produce anything. Most of your ideas are going to go down in flames. And, again, like many people on YouTube think I'm like some sort of multimillionaire or something. I'm not. But like I would be if I had actually made better decisions over the course of my life. I'd be probably multi. But yeah, I've made a lot of. But at the same time, it's difficult to separate it because it's hard to tell when, like, the difference between being a degenerate gambler and being an innovative genius that's not afraid to push boundaries is, were you correct? Were you correct? Like in 2016, when Kilpatrick and Townsend on behalf of Apple asked me to take down my stuff. I mean, every lawyer that I spoke to said, "Listen, man, they're asking nicely. You're probably in the wrong here. Just do it." I didn't do it. Man, that was a gamble. Now, why do I seem brave or like I'm fighting the good fight or any of that? Because I won. If I didn't, then I don't know, this channel may not exist, my business may not exist, I may be working retail, and then you would be watching. Again, so much in life is a gamble, and figuring out what is a gamble and what is a calculated decision is something that's very difficult for my mind to process. And I've made a lot of them that are really horrendously, stupidly bad, that when I look back on it, even 12 years later, I look at it and go, why did you do that? Like 12 years later, I can't forgive myself for them. Russian here, borders closing, new anti-war laws, police checking phones and Twitter. 2 years university. 4, have no idea what to do, advice, help, chat. Okay, so I have no advice for you other than get out. I don't know, that's the only advice that I could give is get out. But that's not really useful advice because that's obvious. And if you had a way to get out, you probably would have. You don't have a way to get out, which is why you're there. I don't know how to craft a plan to help you. Thank you very much, Olivia. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I don't know how to help you craft a plan to escape a country, a financial plan, a logistical plan, a travel plan. I'm not really much of a travel person myself until very recently. So, but yeah, I mean, I would leave. Like, don't normalize it. Don't have it be the death by 1,000 cuts thing where you just slowly over time normalize bad conditions. When are you coming to Wisconsin? I was going to go to Wisconsin a few months ago, but I didn't. You obviously lifted your eyebrows. I do this a lot, but I don't think. Have you heard about the app website called Ground News? It was made to give people multiple perspectives on a topic by providing articles of news media outlets from left, center, or right. Haven't heard of it, but it sounds like an interesting idea. Is it possible to blow up your heart? Does your brain stop from giving yourself a heart attack? I don't know, but if my brain stopped, I'd probably get more done. Yeah. I was very close to drinking that water bottle over there, but if I do, I'll give away my location. So, did you see the West Virginia proposed bill that would make OTA illegal unless you brought it to a dealership? No, I didn't. But that's very interesting because it would be really interesting if car companies start using OTA updates to disable features or make them subscriber-only features. Like, you buy a car. Like, this could be good and bad. So it could be bad because you want the new update because there's new features, but now you have to go to a dealer and deal with them trying to upsell you and make an appointment, and who wants to do that? But it could be good because what if they push an update to your vehicle and they disable something? Let's say your car has seat heaters, right? And they go, you know what? We messed up. We should have made it so that the seat heater costs you $50 a month. We're going to put an update and make it so the seat heater costs $50 a month. That's something that could be doable. They could change their mind. They could, what's the word? Bait and switch. I was about to say hook and bait. Oh my God. They could bait and switch you and do something like that. So wouldn't it be nice to be able to prevent that ahead of time? But link me the law. Email it to me, lewis@rossmanngroup.com. That's lewis@rossmanngroup.com. What's the worst business decision you've ever made? I'm not in the mood for that right now. Buying a bunch of screens that I shouldn't have, that were all the same model that nobody actually wanted, but they wanted for a short period of time. So I thought they wanted it for a long period of time. So after selling through the first 100 really quickly, I bought another 600. And I kid you not, they're still in my basement. They are still in my basement. To let you know how long I've been fixing MacBooks for, they were B154 PW01 V1s that are both glossy V0 and matte V1 for the A1150 and A1211 MacBook Pro. OEM, grade A+, plus, new in box. Any news on John Deere stupidity with anti-right to repair cases? Nothing that I can discuss publicly at this point. I am truly sorry. Soon there will be something I can discuss publicly. Right now I don't have something I can discuss publicly, but it will come soon. What happened to Erica? Erica is gone. We have broken up. I don't know why you keep asking the same question. How can I cannot repeat the same thing over and over and over again? Is Lewis going to be the next Florida man? I am not going to be a Florida man. That's not even funny. What is not even funny? What's that? Define that. I don't know what that is. The first step of getting good at something is sucking. Correct. What's your favorite device to work on? Same as Paul. 820-3437, A1466, 2013-2014 MacBook Pro with minor liquid damage. I don't know. That's not a real question, Firespawn. It's kind of silly. I resoldered an SMD with a normal soldering iron. I have a video on this channel doing the same thing in 2014 because I didn't want people to have excuses. If a nuke is heading your way and you have 1 hour to live, what do you do? Anxiety attack. What's the most degenerate gamble you've ever made? What's the least? I'm sorry, that's just nuts. You know what? Screw it. Buying 900 LP154 WP4 TLA1s and 600 B154 PW01 V0s and V1 screens because a bunch of people wanted them for a very short period of time. So I thought if I got a slightly better price on it, that I would be able to sell way more. And then the demand instantly drying up to the point where literally 12 years later, I still have those parts sitting in my basement and nobody wants them. That was a big one because even though that wasn't the most money that I've screwed up, but at the time, proportionally, that was the most. How do I motivate myself to work harder in life? I think hitting rock bottom is a really important one. All of the times that I have jumped to the next level at doing something, it was usually after I hit rock bottom, emotionally and financially. And there are 3 key points in my life where I hit rock bottom emotionally and financially at the exact same time. Or I should say is it relationally even a word? Relationally, emotionally, and financially. Thank you for wearing red in support of... When I get back, Sonny, when I get back. Ukraine opinion, I already did that. Can't keep going over that one. Let's see. Pair character, bowing down, saying thank you. What's a pair character? Do you think that going to the U.S. for tech is still worth it? To drive the point home, when you hire an immigrant, as I probably will in the future. I don't mind hiring immigrants. I've always hired immigrants. A lot of my store is immigrants. I mean, I never really went out and said I want to hire. I was never one of those people that's I just want to virtue signal. I hire a diverse workforce. It's just I asked people do you know anybody that knows how to do this? And the people that show up were immigrants, and if they were good, I'd hire them. Will those storage screens work in a Raspberry Pi? I have no idea. Probably not. I don't know. They work on an A1150 MacBook Pro. Have you thought of opening a shop in London? I have not thought of opening a shop anywhere, I'll be honest with you. I have had enough risks that blow up in my face, and I don't want to take any more of them. Hello, XPYR. XPYR has always been he's always left very thoughtful comments. Even when I disagree with XPYR, I appreciate his presence and his comments, so thank you for being here. How to reach out about funding for a VR app on board repair electronics in general. That is impossible, so I've pretty much gone out of my way in life to avoid being sales pitched. It's literally impossible. It's pretty much impossible. So Kevin, Kevin, everybody who works the front desk at the store, there's an implied understanding that if you let somebody through to either my phone or my office, that you're fired. So like I've literally, I've pretty much set up my life in a manner to where I am never being pitched random ideas by random people. I am truly sorry. I appreciate the $5. Thank you for the $5. God bless you and yours, but I can't do it. I'm very blunt, and I wind up really, really aggravating people when I tell them that I have no interest in their random idea. How are the kitties? My cat is doing very well. They're being taken care of by Hi at the store. He's doing a very good job of that. Why do you punish yourself living in New York? It makes zero sense. Where do you think this room is right now? I'm going to give you 5 guesses. Where do you think this is? I'm just kind of curious. According to my ID, I don't live in New York. According to my passport, I don't live in New York. According to the smile on my face, I don't live in New York. I'm a nomad. I visit from time to time, but I'm a nomad. Let's see. I just want to say thank you for all you've done for Repair Community. Down here in Jersey, doing the same thing, struggling through it. I'm glad that you are winning. You may think you're struggling through it, but any day that you're still there, you're winning. What about Electronics Repair School YouTube? I don't know that one off the top of my head. I'm not going to say that it's bad just because I don't know it. I just don't know it off the top of my head. Check out Electronics Repair School YouTube. Maybe it's a good channel. My God, every AMA is boxers or briefs, and where is Erica? Pretty much. Watching your videos, especially love watching your streams and you bike around. Love the board repairs and fight to repair. Much love. Thank you. Yeah, I can't do the biking stuff where I am right now, but it's kind of fun. Have you already pitied Eli? Also cheered him up. No, I'm happy for Eli. Eli figured out that there is a world outside of YouTube that can be very happy. And also Eli is about 13 years ahead of me in life, and most likely 13 years ahead of me financially. So he is enjoying the fruits of his labor and all of his work to be able to take time off from doing something he does not enjoy to do something that he does enjoy with valued members of his family, like his wife. And I'm happy for him that he's doing that. I hope that he appreciates the newfound time that he has with his wife. And yeah, I mean, honestly, just the fact that his wife told him, and this is not like private conversation. This is all stuff he said on his own YouTube channel publicly. You know, I noticed that you're somewhat aggravated or whatever when you're doing these videos. You know, you don't actually have to do them. Let's have fun or whatever. He's got himself a good woman. I'm happy for Eli. Get out of New York. Stop working for government. I don't work for government. Why are you such a caring, calm person? I'm not a calm person. I think I appear calm, but I'm not actually calm, and I'm most certainly not caring. Don't call me caring. That's highly inaccurate. I'm incredibly. My AirPods died out on me, and I've been using it for 2 years, and to replace them costs a fortune. These things are disposable. Hope Right to Repair comes to this. Yeah, I can't buy headphones that are like that. Like, I have headphones. Actually, no, they're on the other side. Oh, here we go. So, you know, if anything happens to this Bluetooth cable, well, I can pop this open. Literally with my fingernail, I can pop this open to get to the battery. And again, where do I get a battery? I probably can't, but same as everybody else. But what I can do is I can actually pop off the earpieces like this. See this? So this is the earpiece, and this is the cable. It uses something called an MMCX connector. It's a standardized connector, so if I want, I can utilize a Bluetooth cable or, Bluetooth adapter or a wire that is not made by Shure. And I much prefer headphones that use some sort of standardized connector like an MMCX connector. It's why I stopped using Etymotics back in the day, because the ER4 and the ER6, they did not use a standard adapter so that I could just buy a cable of my choice. And I really like the ability to get a cable of my choice. Please, somebody spend money to ask this guy how much of the scientific method he understands. I did my 3rd grade science project on, damn it. Are people inherently good, bad, or neither? Is this humanity's downfall? Mass willful ignorance translating into stupidity over time. We seem to be regressing socially while progressing technologically and medically. Well, I think that this is I think this is a big part of the left and right divide. I think that the more progressive concept is people are the way they are because they were socialized that way, because they didn't get the resources that they could have had access to, because they didn't have the family environment that they could have had. And I think the right side tends to just believe there are people who are good people and there are people who are bad people, and there are things that can potentially change that, but there are also some people that you're not helping them by giving them slightly better education or a slightly better family environment. That there are some people that are just fundamentally evil, and admittedly I most certainly see the world through the bias of the latter. Will you be attending the North Texas Irish Festival in Dallas this weekend? No, I will not. No, I'm very, very far away from that. I am many, many time zones away from that. But I do want to eventually visit Texas. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but knowing the difference between gambling and calculated risk takes experience. It really, really does, and it's so easy to lie to yourself. It's why Eli, the computer guy's advice on you can lie to the world, but you can't lie to yourself is so incredibly, incredibly valuable. Because what was the outcome of you requesting Wozniak for support with Right to Repair? Oh, I never heard from him again. Listen, I did that cameo to get him to talk about it, and then I literally followed up with, so you want to give me $1 million, bro? Like, how do you think that went? That was the most socially autistic thing to possibly do. And I did it. And it was so stupid. Like, there were so many other things I could have actually asked rather than that. Like, hey, do you want to be a board member of this organization? Do you want to be an advisor to it and give us... No, I wanted to get that ballot initiative done. And I was kind of getting messed with because there was a large donor that had already given $1 million for another nonprofit that was pretty much said, if you can get Wozniak on board, I'll give you money. I just want to know that I'm not the only crazy person giving you money. So if you get him to do it, I'll do it. Well, actually, first to start with, if you can just get him to talk about Right to Repair, I'll give you money. I got him to talk about Right to Repair. Okay, now can you get him to give me money? Like, really? Seriously? That's what you're going to make me do? Fine. I'll get on my hands and knees and I'll grovel. And I groveled, and I'm sure I provided entertainment to somebody. But listen, I really wanted to try to do that ballot initiative last year, and it was actually worth doing a little bit of groveling for. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like I made an idiot of myself. But I make an idiot of myself on a regular basis for this channel. Sometimes I just feel like I might as well put on a damn nose and a cap and makeup and call myself Bozo the Clown. I am behind. I am on Eastern Standard Time. I am reading the chat at 3:01, and it is 3:12, so I am behind. Anybody who is copying and pasting, I am banning you. That is so annoying. Stop making excuses. You could do what you do anywhere in the country. Get out of New York. You really, really stupid human being. Okay, you're just copying and pasting shit. Get out of here. I'm literally not in New York. I'm like thousands of miles away. Go away. Speaking as a boss with employees spread over 6 countries, I really appreciate your videos and stories and people management. Just want to say that. P.S. I also hate Macs. They're just so incompatible with the enterprise. I hear you there. Thank you very much for the 20 pounds. Hey, Rossmann, have you ever met Fran Blanche? I haven't met her in person, but she is in an electronics YouTubers group that I'm a member of, and I have seen several of her videos, and I think that she's good at what she does. You should check it out. She doesn't really do like board repair kind of stuff, but she does all sorts of other different types of stuff that's really cool. Any friend of Dave Jones is a friend of mine. I lost my Sony WF-1000MX charging case, plus no replacement available, only new headphones. Can I charge my headphones via charging cable in the right V? What's V? See, I don't know. I've never seen those headphones before, I'll be honest with you. I don't buy stuff like this. Like, mine just have micro USB on them. Okay, I lost my charging case. Actually, Are these smart charging cases, or are these just like, would this work on a wireless charging pad? Like, if you were to put this on a Samsung wireless charging pad, would that work? What is the voltage of the battery? I'm very curious. I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know. With Apple going ARM system on a chip, have you noticed any changes to the number of computers you're all repairing? Well, it's not really about it being ARM. That's not really what it is. Honestly, a big part of what makes a device fixable or not fixable is where the water lands on that generation. So for instance, if you have a machine where the water lands on the JTAG, that's going to be an easy fix every time. That's why we all love the A1466 Air. But if you have a device where the liquid always falls on, if the liquid is always falling on the CPU MOSFET, and then it sends 12 volts to the CPU, then you're going to have something that's always dead. So whether or not a device winds up being fixable really tends to come down to where does the liquid fall on that particular year and model, and does it fall on something that just kills everything, or does it fall on something that it makes it fixable? I'm behind by 11 minutes. If you had to hire a handyman to repair anything in your home and weren't allowed to do it yourself, do you think people would be more for Right to Repair? Yes, I think a big part of the issue with Right to Repair is that I haven't done a good enough job at connecting to the average, ordinary, everyday person. I think I connect very well with people that find things like component level motherboard repair to be interesting, or people that admittedly were just browsing the internet, had nothing better to do, saw me streaming board repair 7 years ago and thought, F it, I'll listen to this. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's enough. I think that there's a large segment of the population that I have not reached, that I cannot reach, that if I did reach, we would be much further along. How often do you have to fire customers? Oh, all the time. Steve does it all the time. Steve sells GTFOs left and right. How do you feel about the NVIDIA leaks? I know nothing about that. I have no idea what that is. Let's see. I'm going to Google it. NVIDIA leaks. NVIDIA hack reportedly leaks six next-gen GeForce GPU names. Source code leaked by hackers. Proprietary information is being leaked by hackers. I don't know. I don't really care. I'll be honest with you. NVIDIA source code is of no interest to me. Yeah, I don't feel anything about it. I'm sorry. I feel like I shortchanged you. I definitely shortchanged you. Yeah, I feel like I shortchanged you. I'm sorry. I don't have any opinion on it. It's not something that I really care about. Would it lead to better Linux drivers? I'm kind of curious if it would lead to better Linux drivers. Actually, I do have an incentive in that. I have a Quadro. NVIDIA Linux drivers are dog crap. Like, they're bad. They're really, really bad. And the people that are on that team that make the NOU-VEAU drivers, they literally have to reverse engineer all that from scratch because they don't get access to a lot. NVIDIA doesn't give them access to what they need to be able to make good drivers. So if this would allow the team that makes them to make better drivers, that would be cool. But again, I don't really have enough knowledge about that to actually be able to speak on it competently. Do you believe rights repairs possible for software in the age of software as a service? No, because it's not. Because like if the software is being hosted on somebody else's server and it's being served to you, it's not installed on your computer. Like, what are you even going to fix? I mean, don't you? I imagine to fix software to some extent, you would need access to source code. And and if you had the source code, then why would you continue to utilize their system? Irk, in an older video, you mentioned buying MacBook LCDs to stop working after updates. Compatible IDs still have those. No, I wrote F Apple on the back of them. I signed them, and then I sold them all off. See? People say I should sell merchandise. See, what I do is I don't sell merchandise, but I hold it in for moments like that when $10,000 of my parts become worthless overnight. I don't know. Somebody told me, let's figure out if your signature is actually worth anything. Apparently, my signature is worth $95 a pop, but I save those. How do you like the suburbs? I don't really like or dislike them. I don't know if I could live in a suburb permanently. It gets kind of boring. I'm not in a suburb right now. Do you have specific suggestions for things we can do to support right to repair? Yes, and I have an entire video on it, and I forget the title of it because I'm a horrible, horrible influencer. But I actually I get that question like 20 times a day, so I actually made a video addressing it, and if any of you actually can find it, it would be great, because I really don't want to do it again. This may surprise you, and I know I'm going to get a bunch of laughs because of how I do my content. I actually don't like repeating myself. When I repeat myself, it's because I don't notice I'm doing it. But do you have a need to employ an IT person in New Hampshire? I don't see any openings on your website. Nope, because I don't have a business in New Hampshire. I just wanted you to say that you're a really good change of pace compared with other content on YouTube. Friendly yet humble smile and conversation with an honest business. Thank you for the content. Thank you for the viewership, Francisco. I appreciate it. Do the homeless cause issues for your business? Nope, not at all. I'll be honest with you. I've had maybe 5 homeless people walk in and do something awkward in the past 10 years. I don't think that's bad at all. I feel bad because there was this one time that Kevin was dealing with somebody that was clearly on something, and like I think he wanted us to jump in and help him, but he just kept dealing with it, and he never like looked at us, he never tapped us on the shoulder, he never came back to us and said, hey, can you help with this? So we actually wound up filming his interaction with somebody that was clearly on something, and he was clearly not happy about that afterwards. I feel bad. Kevin's a good sport though. Thank you, Zeller. Who is Eli? Eli the computer guy, Jay. You cannot call me Karen, XPYR. I wish Framework would use AMD for something. Someday. Can't get everything immediately. Did you know your surname is used by a European company to sell some shampoos and other cleansers on your behalf? You see, I don't think that that's on my behalf. I think they're probably a different company. I don't sell shampoo. Is Erica okay? She's probably fine. You can ask her. Oh my god, yes, I needed this today. I'm working tensely at my desk. Having Lewis around helps. Hello, Jamie. How are you? There's somebody involved in New York City real estate in my chat right now. Nuance is dead and no one wants to think. I think people want to think, but I think that they emotionally respond to something that really bothers them and aggravates them, and it kind of overrides it. I was a huge Microsoft Surface fangirl. My Surface Book got a swollen battery, and Microsoft said it was because it was used with the Surface Dock too much. $100 first-party accessory broke my $1,800 device. I'm glad to hear that you were. You said I was a huge fangirl, and you're not because they treated you poorly. That's the way it's supposed to be. Thanks for the cost estimate for my hard drive. Emma Brown. Oh, thanks, Steve. Steve at rossmangroup.com. He's doing all the data recovery. I feel bad taking credit for something he did. I also feel like a piece of for giving out his email in public. He's not going to appreciate that. Oh well. A study showed the more money you have, the less sympathy you have for other people. I'd be curious for the methodology of that study.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Wanted to super chat a personal non-tech question to Lewis, but I feel a wuss. I'm wussing out respectfully. No, go for it. Go for it. I don't really... What was the thing before that? I read something before that. I forget what it is. Oh, I guess Lewis is single now. I am single. Yes, that is correct. Do you feel trapped in New York City because your employees are unable to move? I feel like the business is kind of trapped there, but I don't feel personally trapped there.
Oh, sweet mercy.
I don't have a business filled with idiots. Like, they actually know how to do their job. I think reuse is the most important of the 3 R's. What are some uses for old computers that work fine but are just outdated? I don't know. You know, at some point I would be kind of curious. Like, is there a curve along which it actually makes sense to junk something rather than replace it? Like, think of it. If we get to a point where you have a computer that uses 2 watts and can play the latest games with 2 watts, and then you have an old computer that takes up 500 watts just to boot, and it's, you know, a Pentium 2 or 3, where along the curve are you actually... Like, what is the environmental cost, the energy cost to building one new computer? Resources and everything. Has anybody plotted this? And then, like, what is the cost of that versus the cost of the additional energy to run a machine that's so much older? Like, at what point does that actually become no longer worth it? I'm currently working on an open source 3D printer, and let's put it that way. It's as complicated as working with open source OSs. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that sounds like a hellscape. I absolutely love Fran. Just thought you might know her back from the days when she ran her business in Williamsburg. No, I didn't spend much time in Williamsburg. Williamsburg is very, very hipsterish, and I've always just... There's been some... I can't explain it, I'll be honest. It's been ever since Avatar Studios, even before everybody was really into politics and all that. But yeah, I've always been a culture clash with hipsters. It's kind of like, you know, the same pole of 2 different magnets that just do this. Like, I've just never been able to get along with or mingle well with hipsters, and that's a lot of what Williamsburg is. You say you're a horrible human being, but if that's what it takes to get anything done, then we should all be horrible people. Keep the good work. I think I'm a horrible person because I know exactly what's going on in my head. I know what I'm thinking. I know why I'm thinking what I'm thinking, and I think if you were in my head, you'd probably think the exact same thing. But above all, I think it's very, very dangerous to think of yourself as a good person, because the moment you do that, it makes it easier to justify being atrocious and doing horrible things. Because if you think that what you're doing is being done because you're a good human being, then you can justify it any which way, because what you're doing is actually helping. And if what you're doing is helping, then just keep doing it. But if you realize that you're probably not that great a person, you're going to constantly question yourself, and it may actually stop you from doing the horrible things that many people have the capability to do. And understanding that you have the potential within you to do horrible, horrible things, not just for yourself and your family, but all of humanity, I think is a really, really important thing to understand. Steve probably already fired Oreo. Steve actually gets along with Blackberry. It's the only cat that he lets near his station. You did plenty to connect with the average customer. Linus cameos came to mind a lot. Yeah, but that was Linus connecting. That wasn't me. Stop repeating the same thing, Winston. Jesus. Do you feel you're slowly becoming a hermit? No, I feel actually the opposite. Be honest with you. The less time I spend on YouTube, the more time I spend on YouTube, the more time I spend in the real world. The more time I spend in the real world, the less I feel like a hermit. So it's weird because, like, the less of me that you see, the more it is I'm actually doing something out there, which is what matters. It's easy to get stuck in this as a world. Wish you new repair stuff related to Rise and Ascend 12 volts. Everything's supposed to get 5 volts. Now I know it's effed. Hi. Excuse me. Where is Lewis today? See, this is an Ask Me Almost Anything stream. I actually edited that, and then it went back to the old name. This is not an Ask Me Anything. This is Almost Anything, and that is that I am leaving confidential. I'm genuinely enjoying having a little bit of privacy. I can't keep answering the same question, soccer. It's insanely annoying. Soccer, stop with the same question over and over. I have a question. I own a GTX 1080 card for gaming. Should wait another year for price to go down or upgrade. That's up to you. Do you really need another one? I'm not a Red Sox fan. I don't watch sports. You don't have moderators watching unpaid comments. No, I watch them. I'm reading unpaid comments right now, and there are moderators watching it. I see the moderators watching it. Stop complaining. Do you have any funny school stories about your friends being or something? I honestly have forgotten most of my junior high school and high school experience. Yeah, like it's just kind of down the memory hole. I really didn't enjoy it. It felt like I was in prison for 7, 8 hours a day in a place where most of the adults really didn't want to be. It's like the adults in school wanted to be there as little as I did. And I just think I took that entire experience and put it down the memory hole. Not enough that I will not advocate against that prison for my own children, but enough that it doesn't bother me. But enough that I advocate against that children for my own prison, that prison for my own children. Can we get New Year's Lewis? Cheers. New Year's Lewis was very, very intoxicated. There's not enough alcohol in this room to be able to make New Year's Lewis come back. But I'm also trying to avoid that with the new push for health. I have not been active on hydrogen audio for 19 years.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Please continue to give us commentary about New York City and your perspective on real estate. Ask Jamie in the chat. You got an actual New York City realtor in my chat right now. When are you going to have that opportunity again? Imagine a New York City real estate person watching this channel and not immediately running away. That's a special person right over there. My personal phone that I daily drive is a Samsung S10e that I bought used because I don't like Samsung getting my money. Thank you, Varrett. Thank you very much. Hope you have a good day too. When will Lewis switch to Windows 11? You need to ask the important questions. I actually never, honestly. I got Linux on my laptop and my work computer and my home computer, so I'm done. I'm off the Windows train. I literally got to do every single thing that I need at this point. I'm done. Seriously, I don't miss Windows at all. I have an unfurly gaggle of smart assistants. I want to reduce to just Alexa or Big Daddy Googs. What is your preference and why? I have never used a smart assistant. I don't have a smart assistant. I probably never will have a smart assistant. I realize at this point in my life that I've let way too many of these spying tools into my home, and I realize that going backwards is very difficult, but one thing I can do is at least not continue moving forward. I'm not moving forward. Look at those guns. I feel every time you flex, I can see your... What? Bro, stop. Go on Grindr or something. Get out of here. Thank you for being direct when I asked you for help. You told me you couldn't help, but you got me info that could. Thank you, Trent. I'm glad. Have you ever done any programming? Yes, but I'm horrible. Did you voice his opinion on Ukraine yet? Yeah, in the beginning of the video. Even the people donating aren't reading the chats that aren't being paid for. What? I'm reading the chats that aren't being paid for, including you whining and complaining and crying every single freaking page. If I got rid of yours, I'd probably have time to read more. Lewis is China asking for support for right to repair in the Russian army. I don't... Sonny, get out of here. It was a few years ago. I don't remember the exact site he started on Slashdot. See, that's how I always knew XPYR was smart. Now I'm confirmed. If you actually read Slashdot back when they were good, you're probably in the top 1% of brain power. It's so funny you spoke of quitting without notice. My best friend went ballistic on his daughter today for doing it 3 times in the last 3 months. I think she should listen to what you said. Well, again, there's always a reason to quit without notice. Like, I've quit without notice, and I'll happily hire people that quit without notice if under the right circumstances. What I refuse to hire at this point, what I will not hire, is somebody that just blindly badmouths their last boss or last job. I want to know details. I don't want to know my last job sucked, my boss was a a-hole or whatever. I want to know actual, honest details. And if you lead with details, cool. Thank you telling us. If you lead with just a bunch of insults, here's the thing. What makes your last boss different from me? So you said your last boss was an a-hole, so you left with no notice. Okay. What makes your last boss different than me? Really? Like, what makes your last boss? How am I different? I don't know you. I don't know your last boss. For all I know, you thought your last boss was an a-hole because he asked you to work. And with our anti-work as popular as it is, there's sadly a chance that that's actually right. What is your thought on inflation? Do you think we'll ever recover and go back to normal? Should we buy tech items now or should we hold off? I don't have any idea. I can't predict stuff like that. If I could predict stuff like that, I'd be a multi-millionaire because I know exactly what to invest in, exactly the time to invest in it. I would know whether to buy this bond or this stock or this commodity, and then I would just be rich. That's not where I am. Again, my thought on inflation is it's very difficult to put something back in the bottle. Even if you only expect inflation to last a certain period of time, I don't see things going back to the way they are. Because here's the thing. If you can sell something over here and you realize you could see, it's kind of like working from home, right? So after COVID was done, are people going back to the office? No, because they realized they could save a bunch of money if they work from home. They say the business could save a bunch of people work from home. Now, if you thought, well, okay, this graphics card is $1,500. Okay, we have to make it $3,000 now. Oh wait, people are buying this anyway. We never thought people would buy this if it was $3,000, but they are. Why are you going to bring it back down? Doesn't make any sense to. That's ridiculous, Akusta DC. I can't believe I read that. Did you ever watch Super Nanny on stream? What do you mean by Super Nanny? You mean Fran Drescher? I watched Fran Drescher on stream. From The Nanny. Mr. Sheffield! I don't think that was what you were talking about, though. I feel old. I wonder how many people are actually going to get that reference. Please tell us about SSD. Huh? That's a page of fail. Yes, there is, Samuel. You tell people why it matters and get them to care. Jeffrey, stop crying. Okay, you're out of here. You've cried too much for this evening. Bye-bye. How sensitive are hard drive heads? Very. Can they be destroyed by using paper in between the two heads when moving them from platter to platter? That's a question for Steve. Steve at rossmangroup.com. Would you eat a puppy for $1 million? No, that's too weird. I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I'd think of a little puppy every time I'm eating it. Then again, we eat chickens. What makes a puppy different than a chicken, you know? We kill chickens all the time. We kill pigs all the time. Why is a puppy any different than a chicken or a pig? How was the puppy killed? What are the circumstances of the puppy's death? Are you currently on testosterone therapy? No, but I will take that as a compliment. You actually think I'm doing roids. My exercise has been so effective that you think I'm doing roids. That actually made me smile. That's cool. I'm not looking for people to notice, but, you know, I have an ego. Everybody has an ego, but that's kind of cool. People actually think I'm doing roids. Awesome. Lewis, are you currently looking for a girlfriend? Only if it's the right person. But it's harder and harder to define that. Asking the important questions. How are the cats? Ask Hi-Hi. Hi-Hi at rossmangroup.com. That's Hi-Hi at rossmangroup.com for all your Clinton, BlackBerry, and Oreo needs. You can also find Hi-Hi in the Discord. Hi-Hi217. Ping Hi-Hi217 to request status, pictures, and information on BlackBerry, Oreo, and Clinton. Anytime, day or night. Yeah, I can't believe Jeffrey actually cried for a straight 20 minutes and stayed to cry some more. My God. Scroll. You look strange in red. I do. Does it ever get boring living in New Hampshire? Sometimes. And you find something to do. You drive off and go someplace else. Yeah, I got off Windows and started running Linux in December of this year. My home computer, my office computer, and my laptop. I haven't booted into Windows in 3 months. I'm happy. I got everything I need. Thank you, Jamie. When outside New York City and thus the constitutional rights, what is your favorite concealed carry sidearm? That's not something I want to get into on stream. A number of reasons. I find myself addicted to passive BS scrolling to the point that I don't know what to do with my free time. Any advice? I know somebody that put a timer on their phone for when they used a certain app too much. One of the reasons that I stopped using that blue chair. Why? Somebody just asked, why are the paid questions the stupidest? Why are they? Copaz, stop that. Anyway, if you are addicted to scrolling, one of the things that I did is I stopped using that blue chair. Everybody loves that blue chair. They always ask about that blue chair. And something that I noticed is that when I'm in that chair, for some reason, it's easier when I am in that chair to keep scrolling on garbage or continue doing something that has nothing to do with what I want to accomplish for the day than it is with almost anything else. So I would suggest think about your environment and whether or not you're kind of getting stuck in some sort of chair or a bed or whatever it is that keeps. Bro, why? No, I'm not releasing a pop song. Get out of here. Okay. Sometimes I think mental health equals no screens. If only that was possible. I think screens and social media platforms simply amplify all of our tendencies as human beings. It kind of makes you more what you are, but it also, whatever your brain is, I think it just kind of makes it more. Ash, I can't keep answering the same question. I'm sorry. You realize that I don't want to answer that question 1.7 million times, right? Like if I answered it already, and I answered it 2 or 3 times, like I'm not going to answer it 1.7 million times. It's just not happening. Oreo and Clinton need their own livestream AMA. Again, hi@rossmanngroup.com. Thank you, Ainsley. I try. Sometimes people complain anyway, but that's why they got to go. I hate the small things that happen with me using Linux, usually small things like Bluetooth issues. Trust me, I understand it. And I did spend about a month torturing myself, and admittedly that month probably would have been better spent doing literally anything other than doing that. But after I put all that investment in and have everything set up in the very particular way that I want, I'm holding on to it for dear life. Paul Mo, I'm not answering that question 1.7 million times. I'm sorry. I can't do that. If you want to no, just no. Like, I'm not answering the same question. That's the way this works. If I can answer the question once in a video, and then you just ask it again, that means I'm going to answer this question 1.7 million times. I'm not doing that. Like, F that. What's the hardest part of moving to New Hampshire? I didn't move there. I got an apartment there. I am a nomad. I am not in New Hampshire right now. I'm not in New York right now. I am a nomad. I don't know where I'm going to move. I have no idea where I'm going to move. I am simply a nomad. How much stock do you put in resumes? None. I literally shred them. I do not do opinion on direct democracy. If you're not voting on something that is going to trample over the rights of other people to a great extent or has the potential to trample on the rights of other people, I'm open to experimenting with it, but I am worried about the tyranny of the majority or people getting riled up in the moment over something and then more. Because one of the things about the American system, a lot of people hate gridlock, but a lot of the good with gridlock is that it keeps really horrible things from happening. Lewis burning me and telling me to go on Grindr is the highlight of my morning. Thank you. Anytime. I'm at your service. Were you raised religious? Yes. Are you still? No. What part of the general population do you believe would appreciate the ability to repair their own devices compared to your audience? I think a large portion of it. I just don't think they know what's going on. I genuinely believe that they do, that they would, if they had it explained to them. Because most people do understand it when you explain it to them. Excuse me. What are your thoughts on car dependencies? You live in New York and how it is to live with less car? I don't mind it, I'll be honest with you.
Sweet mercy.
I am not in a metaverse, Sam. What's on Steam Deck? I like that they made stuff available to iFixit. That's really cool. I haven't looked into the pricing structure yet. Have you ever felt that you made an immoral business decision? Sometimes. I will never do construction in my next office, Gigi. Never again. I'm taking it as it comes. Already answered that question. That one's getting copied and pasted like crazy. Have you found a new gym in New Hampshire? Looking beefy. Yes, in January. I'm sorry I didn't mean to upset. Been watching your contents at the beginning. We haven't had a chance to catch up. Oh, I'm sorry about that. TLDR. Not romantically compatible. Tried several times. Departed as friends. Hope she has a great life. She hopes I have a great life. Such as that. Such as life. Where do you feel like you're having the most impact on right to repair? If it's locally, county, state, federally. I'll be honest with you, it's still culturally. Culturally. I think like, you know, there are 2 states where I just got it handed to me. Like I got served big time. Washington and Maryland were just like I think the biggest, it's weird because the most progress I've made is with the thing that didn't need money. And the part that needs money is the part where I feel like I've had the least progress. The part that doesn't need money is the part where I feel like I've had the most. I'm taking a collection of college classes that I need to pass in order to be accepted into the construction engineering program. I'm about to fail chemistry, which isn't even expanded on in the construction engineering program. Will set me back 1 year, sad. I dropped out of college after I failed chemistry in 2009. So congratulations. High five. Maybe you'll go on to do something better than I did with my life. I have not met anyone influential in right to repair yet so far. Anyone newly influential. I do always enjoy the opportunity to speak with Nathan Proctor from US Perg.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Do you watch YouTube bodybuilding content like Vegan Gains? I haven't seen a Vegan Gains video since like 2015. 2015 or 2016. I clicked on it just for the hell of it, and then I clicked right off of it immediately. I shall not stand for penguin slander. Who slandered penguins? Are you a semi-sociopath? No offense intended, I'm just seeing some patterns. No, you're not. You're probably hallucinating. Get out of here. Your self-diagnosis shit. Hi is about to get spammed. Oh, he is. He is. Hello, Lewis. I have a charger from Asus where the cable is broken off and I want to fix it. However, I can't get into the box with being strongly put together.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Yeah, that's annoying. Why aren't you religious? Because the story doesn't really seem to make sense and it doesn't really seem believable. And it seems like as time goes on, the number of gods gets smaller and smaller, and the amount of stuff that is believable gets smaller and smaller as technology and science is able to explain more things in the world. I think religion does have a purpose. It gives people a sense of purpose, meaning, morality, and I think you really do need to give people a sense of purpose. Like science is really good at explaining, you know, stuff like gravity, the earth moving around the sun. Science is really good at that stuff. You know what science is really bad at? Giving people a sense of meaning, purpose, community, and morality. Science is trash at meaning, purpose, morality, or community. And I think that, you know, like when people throw away the parts of religion that don't make sense, like there's a dude in a chariot that brings the sun around the earth or whatever, they also threw away the meaning, purpose, connection, community, morality. I don't think they were thinking about that all the way. And I think that there's, you know, that's part of why we find ourselves where we are now, at each other's throats all the time. But then again, people were at each other's throats even when they were religious. Who am I kidding? So many wars over it anyway. I don't disrespect people who are religious. I don't. Like, I don't, you know, you have your New York Times reading kind of atheists that have like nice apartments in New York City that look down on people who are religious in the middle of the country. I don't look down on them at all. You know, I think, I don't know what you're talking about, Sneed. Like I have over 2,000 videos, and I'm confident that a black woman probably came up more than once. So I appreciate the dollar, but that is so generic. It's beyond my capability to even remotely. It's kind of like you asking, hey, you made a video about a stupid politician. Can you tell me more about them? It's like, yeah, I do that every day. I forget what I was just talking about before that. I feel like I was on a roll with something, but it's gone now. The thought is gone, so it's gone. Inflation not going anywhere with conflict going on.
Oh, sweet mercy.
I showed your channel to my father, 65, and loves your videos. You know what you're doing. You always cheer me up. Thank you. Yeah, I haven't had time to live stream recently. I've been living life. You have your employees babysitting your cats. Does he get paid extra? He gets the reward that he gets to... What was it? There was this one Dilbert episode where they go to El Boni and he goes, of course, you get benefits. You know, when you die, you get time off to attend your funeral. Yeah. When they die, they get time off to attend their funeral. We have a great benefits package here. Do you collaborate with Linus Tech Tips on their upcoming laptop repair video? I didn't know Linus was doing an upcoming laptop repair video. Have you ever made a business decision you thought was immoral? Yes. I hope you're doing well. Loved your board repair videos. Thanks for your content over the years. Thank you, Peter Dinklage. What's next? Not doing much but scrolling recently. Got knocked off a 14-foot ladder last week. Dislocated elbow, messed up hip. Can't walk. Oh my God. Wait, so did you get knocked off the ladder because you were scrolling, or are you scrolling through stuff because you got knocked off a ladder and you can't do anything else? I don't know. Find an audiobook or something. An audiobook is going to be better to listen to than to just scroll through random junk. Don't go down rabbit holes all day. And especially don't go into comment sections. How do I lower my cortisol levels? That's a question for somebody who's actually an expert. I'm not. Again, what helps me with my anxiety, I'll just say it, 2 hours of exercise every day, 2 hours of cardio, with interval training mixed in, where I'll, instead of just staying at 125 to 140 heart rate, I'll try to get up to 170, 175 for 30 or 45 seconds at a time, and then go back to normal. And doing that for 2 hours a day is incredibly, incredibly helpful to me. It's been an amazing tool. What's your favorite Seinfeld episode and why? I forgot most of my Seinfeld episodes, honestly. I bet you're staying in New York. It's a bad guess. There's one hint in this room that would make it obvious that I'm not. But you haven't seen it yet, so I'm not going to point it out to you. You take multivitamins. I do. Are you still considering New Hampshire or nah? Meh. I don't know. Will your next girlfriend be Asian too or an Apple user? I don't really have requirements like that. That's not something I think about. Do you use eye cream? Erica had me using eye cream for a short period of time, but it ran out and I never bothered refilling it because, I don't know, I'm a dude. I just, like, you know, refilling my eye cream is not something that's really on the top of my list that I've ever thought about. Internet dating is a horrible hellscape. I just can't. Yeah, it's not natural. It's kind of weird, Jamie. But then again, normal dating is kind of weird. I don't know where I find women, to be honest with you. Thor donated $1.03. Rip Harambe. That's old news. It's like that's 7 years old. I don't know. I don't really feel like I don't use apps or do anything like that. It's just I live my life. Like, I run my business. I live my life. I do my videos. I go and drive a right to repair. I go to the gym. I go out. I do shit. And if I meet somebody, I meet somebody. If I don't meet somebody, I don't meet somebody. One thing you will not catch me dead doing is sitting there doing this all day. I'll guarantee. Never. You will never see me doing that. It's demeaning. Can you sleep with my girlfriend? I really look up to... What? Dude, no. You literally just broke the stream. You just broke the stream. I just dropped 6,000 frames when you... Really? What are you doing? No. Oh my God, that's horrible. I am not a vegan, Nick. I went back last year. It was hard for me to not be massively bloated and keep my exercise routine as a vegan. With inflation and the value of the dollar dropping at 7% a year, would you consider investing in digital assets that earn 100 times what a bank could offer? Sounds like a scam, honestly. Like Bitcoin has always just looked like a bubble to me, not like an investment, or like a consensual Ponzi scheme. Destiny debated with vegan gains. Destiny debates everyone. Sometimes they're really interesting to watch. I have a lot of respect for him, even when I disagree with him. Destiny, not vegan gains. Because it seems like he actually cares about getting to the truth of something, and he's also very good at controlling that part of him that wants to immediately make an assumption based on his own ideological presuppositions as to why something is the way it is, why the world is the way it is, or what a situation is. He really just he's always interested in digging and digging and digging and digging, and I really do appreciate that. Even if I don't always have the same conclusion that he does, I appreciate that the process that he uses, it's the process that I respect about him, and he's able to stick to that process, and I hope him, he already seems massively successful, but I hope him continued success in what he does. How many bulbs does it light bulbs to change light? What? Lewis, I'm amazed women are not swarming all over you. I find you, to me, an amazing young man. Thank you, Franny. I don't know. I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for people swooning. But, again, I've always, like, aimed to live my best life, and what happens, happens. But, like, I'm never going to sit there doing this all day. Like, no. No, screw that. I have a life to live. I'd literally rather just sit here streaming random stuff into a camera than do that. How do you react in situations where you have right to be angry? It says a lot about you. Yeah, I was talking about this with somebody the other day. I was like, the way that you treat somebody... One sec, I have to lower the bit rate again because I'm getting owned. I'm getting absolutely destroyed. Okay, 500 kilobytes a second. 500 kilobits a second. Is that a stream? Do we have a... Oh my god, you're still dropping. How is that possible? How are you dropping frames at 500 kilobit a second? That's insane. Anyway, that was not my girlfriend, Agent Glow. That was a date. That was a date over 7 years ago. Oh, Marty Flipper. Like, I went out on 2 or 3 dates with that woman, and that was it. And she's long gone. That was not a fun experience, I'll tell you that. I don't know about housing bubble popping. Again, if I knew the answer to these things, I would be very independently wealthy. This is a tech channel. Is it? I think it's kind of like a random junk channel at this point. I'm not a professional, Martin. I'm just a bum. "2 hours of exercise a day will either make you healthier or kill you." Ramp up to it. We'll see. I'll be healthy or I'll be dead. I'm pretty sure I'll be healthy. I think healthy is where I'm going to go with it. What do you do when you get bored of repairing motherboards? See, that's a question I'm looking to answer right now. That's a funny you ask. Linus's battery repair video was cringy. He saw a spark when tack welding a battery and threw away perfectly good batteries into a bucket of sand. I have zero faith in their laptop repair video. I mean, Linus is always trying to do new stuff he doesn't know how to do. I mean, isn't that kind of the spice of life? I mean, I always try to do things I don't know how to do. The only reason you guys don't all call me an idiot is because when I was doing stuff I didn't know how to do, I had 50 subscribers. He has 10 or 13 million. I mean, I try to do stuff I don't know how to do all the time. It's just, you know, can't answer that question a million times, Narcissus. You got to stop doing that. I don't really have an opinion on that. Azul, thoughts on Elon Musk? Is he based or cringe? Both at the same time. I mean, you could be both at the same time. It really depends. It depends on the issue. At the end of the day, what I don't like about him is that he clearly runs a company that cares more about growth than giving a crap about their customers, and but I don't know. He has this insane cult following around him at all times. It's kind of weird, but I get it. You know, like, random, weird, nerdy, Asperger's-y dude that's very trolling. He's very high on the trolling. He enjoys his trolling, and sometimes his trolling is funny. And he's worth like over $100 billion, and his net worth just keeps doing this. And he uses it to keep pissing people off. I think to a lot of people, Elon Musk is a symbol of somebody that gets to. No, he's not answering questions. He is being held by Hi right now. The thing with Elon Musk is, I think a lot of people wish they could be him. You know, like, I have this position. I run a company. Think about it. Like, I run a company. I'm the CEO of one of the most valuable companies in the world. And he just posts random crap on Twitter, and that he knows is going to start fights, that he knows is going to piss people off. And he just does it for the hell of it. And I think a lot of people like that. A lot of people want, even if they don't agree with what he says, they like having that ability. They wish they could do that in their own lives. So they do it vicariously through him. How are the Italians taking to your spontaneous sprinting? Any cultural miscommunication? Are they more long-distance type people? I have no idea. I don't know if there's any Italians around. Actually, I saw one earlier today. There was one Italian around, but they're... Why do people care who his girlfriend is? Are you guys bored? I think they just like asking the same question over and over. Stream is unstable. I lowered it to 500 kilobit per second. You have to be social to find women. Start win improving your social life. That sentence makes no sense. Have you ever considered going on the podcast Painkiller already? I've never heard of that podcast, so I haven't considered it because I never heard of it. But thank you very much. Go hire a mechanic. The stream needs buffered. Dude, this is very bad internet. I can't control it. As a YouTuber, you should be face deep in offers. For women? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This channel is like 1% female viewership. Are you nuts? And I'm confident that it's like, when I log into YouTube, it says 1.8% female viewership. I'm surprised it doesn't have a little asterisk that says there may be a 2 to 3% margin of error. Like, you're all dudes. You're all men. It's clearly obvious. What do you think about Chrome's new Control W shortcut? Makes no sense and goes to show how much Google really values user data. Control W is how you close tabs. You F you. Yeah, get out of here. I'm going to take your dollar. I'm going to spend it on something. There's nothing you can do about it. Do you need help? I'm pretty good. What timestamp are you at with comments? 3:50 and 57 seconds. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick? 5. Would you open other stores? I would not open other stores. Hell no. One store is more than enough for me. I think Lewis needs help. I have a bad feeling. I think that you have a Mario Save the Princess complex. Stop that. That's not healthy. Especially if you start dating with a Mario Save the Princess complex. Oh, God. That's not good.
Oh, sweet mercy.
You're starting to realize that life isn't about work. Now you just need to settle down and get married or else you die alone. Not really. I mean, life is about work, and I think meaning, like a lot of my sense of meaning in life comes from my work and being good at it. It's just I've gotten really good at what I do. I mean, I took an issue that most people didn't know or care about, and like I don't want to raise my ego or anything here, but I think I was a portion of why that is now becoming a worldwide, world-recognized issue. I became really good at what I did to the point where I was one of the best in my field, in my area. I made a world-class company out of it that has the best ratings on Google for what it does. And I've accomplished that. Like that's done. So now it's not that I'm realizing that there's more to life than work. It's that like life is about finding meaning, and I found a lot of meaning in what I did already. And there's always something else. There's always the next thing to do. So now you find the next thing that's going to give you a sense of meaning. What is the deciding factor moving to New Hampshire, not Pennsylvania or Massachusetts? Most of Pennsylvania is incredibly depressing to me. I'll be honest, when I drive through it, a lot of it is very depressing. New Hampshire is beautiful scenery. Beautiful scenery. And it was, okay, maybe it's a little too ANCAP memey, but it was a little bit, it was more libertarian in perspective and ideology. Like again, I'm not an ANCAP, like I'm not all the way over there, but like again, the live free or die in the license plate, and then just kind of going there and meeting people, and the reception that I got anywhere that I went. If I went into a restaurant and just talked to random people, or went to a bar and talked to random people, or was looking at an open house and I just rang somebody's doorbell and just asked them some questions about the area, I got a different vibe from there than I did from other areas, and it really did, and it really had a lot to do with it. What do you think about all the links and QR codes going around asking people to donate to the Ukrainian military, foreign military, noble or not? I would, if it was me, I would immediately assume it was a scam and probably not do it, because I don't scan random QR codes that ask me for money.
Oh, sweet mercy.
What is your favorite board on 4chan? Do you browse G? A lot of people look up to you there. No, I get linked to G every now and then when somebody talks about what a piece of garbage I am, or that I'm a filthy insert word I'm not going to say on a stream because I'd like to have one video that's not demonetized here. Yeah, I get called a lot of stuff on 4chan, on B, Pol, and G, and I only read it when I'm linked to it. I used to read 4chan when I was a teenager back in the mid-2000s, and not anymore. I haven't read 4chan, I haven't read 4chan in like 18 years. It's been a long time, like regularly. But even then, it was a horrible place, and it really nothing has changed. Linus is an entertainment channel, not an actual tech channel. Is that true though? Cannot be both. Honestly, Lewis, I'm just glad you fired up a stream into this format. I figured it's been a while. Are Mac systems and Mac Store stuff better than building PCs? In the same way, image editing, video editing are better? That's a completely subjective question. I personally don't think so. For me, it depends on you. What are you looking for? What do you want out of a computer? What motivates you to exercise? See that? There's three things. A, the desire to be healthier than other members of my family, many of whom had heart attacks in their 40s and 50s. Many of them fatal. B, the fact that it relieves anxiety and aggravation when dealing with things like 7-month-long audits. C, classified information that one other person watching this may know, but nobody else. A company in Denmark ate poop after trying to implement some anti-right to repair stuff. It's beautiful to see. No debate, just F off. Email me, I want to see. Lewis@rossmangroup.com. Spell my name with 2 S's and N's, please. Hello, Catherine, how are you? I'm so sorry. I'm 7 minutes behind on the stream, so I just saw your comment now. I wasn't ignoring you. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I hope your cat is having a lovely day. I agree entirely. Trying new stuff is the spice of life. I'm hard on Linus in for his battery video because he has engineers, smart people that work for him, and still post garbage. Does he have engineers working for him? I didn't know he had engineers working for him. Billionaires shouldn't exist, in my opinion. See, the problem with that is you have to be able to tell me the very specific area at what point something becomes immoral. So let's say if I sell 20 of something, am I immoral? If I sell 2,000 of something, am I immoral? If I sell 2 million of something, am I immoral? If I sell 20 million of something, am I immoral? Tell me at what point it seeps over into morality. Because here's the thing. We can always point at a human being and say, this person did this thing that was wrong, or that thing that was wrong. But when it comes to the just basic concepts, it's very difficult to draw a line and say, this is the point at which you shouldn't exist. So if I sell something and I sell 20,000 of it, I'm not a bad person. But if I sell 20 million of it, I'm now a bad person. Like, where do you put the line? Now, again, what it comes down to is that there are people who are billionaires that have done specific things that suck. And by all means, keep pointing out the things that they do if they do something that sucks. But when you make a blanket statement, a billionaire should not exist, you need to be able to point out at which point is what they did immoral to the point where they actually should not exist. At what point should their ability to do commerce cease? And does that apply to me as well? I feel like a complete loser because I just turned 30 and I don't know if the cybersecurity course I paid for will help me get a better job. Tried my whole life to start different, now failed business, and I've been demoralized. Any advice? I paid to get a health insurance certification in September and October of 2008. So I had put a lot of effort into becoming a recording engineer. And I completely failed. I put a lot more effort into becoming a recording studio technician. I quit Avatar Studios to go back to a smaller studio. Sure, if you email me, Lewis@rossmangroup.com. Sure, why not? And if what was I saying? Crap. So I went to work at a smaller studio. I gave up the job at the bigger studio because I thought I'd have more effect on the smaller studio, and the smaller studio wound up going out of business. So at that point, I'd wasted literal years of my life, and I decided to go hit rock bottom and get a certification to sell healthcare and go through this horrible sales course at Atlantis Health Insurance where they really brainwash you into believing that the reason you're here is because you failed at life, but we can rebuild you in our image to be a health insurance salesman. It's one of those things where they just totally brainwash you. And after spending my last of my money on it, I failed. And it was a month later that I bought a MacBook on eBay to try to do some sort of music project with somebody. It was broken. I tried fixing it. I realized, wait a second. That's the difference in price between a broken MacBook and a working one? What's the cost of the part? Wow! And so it really sometimes does take hitting rock bottom financially, emotionally, and relationally to be able to recover. So now the thing is, how is that journey going to go for you? I don't know. But I've hit rock bottom numerous times in my life, financially, emotionally, and relationally. And each time I hit that rock bottom in those three areas, it always comes with a spring. There's always something I wind up doing differently that I wouldn't have done had I not hit rock bottom. And one thing I'm starting to learn into my 30s is to realize when I do hit that rock bottom, to stop seeing it as a pit of despair and rather seeing it as the coiling of the spring. That's probably really lame and lame motivational crap, but I don't know. It's what life has been like for me. I can't say that it's going to be like that for you, but maybe try viewing it that way. Are there any women with pro right to repair channels? Jessa. You know what the funny thing is? Jessa Jones, iPad Rehab. Oh, God. I still have access to her back end of her YouTube since 2016 when I started helping her manage it. Actually, it was 2015 when I started helping her manage it. She has less female viewership than I do. If I log into her analytics, she has less. Again, she is a woman in tech that has a PhD in molecular genetics, and she has less female viewers than I do. Oh, man, that's crazy. Do not get married to avoid dying alone. I don't think marriage is going to keep you from dying alone. I think being a decent human being is going to keep you from dying alone. If you get married and you're a bad human being, you're going to get divorced and then not only die alone, but also die broke. If one is trying to repair field and hopefully start a long job life with it, how does one start? If you search my channel for the word start, you'll find the video that's about 1 hour long explaining how you start. I'm just going to skip those 3 pages of people debating about something really silly. That's silly. That page is even sillier. Define better, what are your metrics? I don't know what you're talking about. I see you, McLaren. Cats are better. It's all in core strength. Huh?
Oh, sweet mercy.
Chemistry seems to be a field that women are drawn into. Any theories on why? I hate chemistry so hard. You know, my professor in college and in high school for chemistry were both women. I didn't think of that now until you said it. I did horribly in chemistry. I can't explain why that is, but yes, I despise chemistry as well. I was never good at it. What do you think the wealth cap should be? I don't think that there should be a wealth cap. I think that we should encourage people to not be a-holes as often, but I'm not against people being wealthy. Like, I don't know, it's weird because when I argue this whole capitalist, socialist junk, it always comes down to the same thing. Like, people assume I'm evil because I advocate for I advocate for being a capitalist but not being an a-hole. Does that make sense? Like, just being a capitalist but not being a piece of crap. Like, I don't advocate for socialist. I don't advocate for sociopathic capitalism, and I don't argue for the, like this socialist, you're evil if you make money thing. I like capitalism. I think capitalism's great. I think people should try to not be complete pieces of crap. Thoughts on women and men trying to convince themselves that being polygamous is good for their mental health? I've heard a lot of arguments for it in favor of polyamory and polygamy, and it seems to work. Like, the people that say it works for them will be able to explain why it works for them. I don't think it would ever work for me. I don't think it's something for me. I would never want to do that. I don't mind monogamy. The problem with monogamy is you have to find at least one person that's willing to be your girlfriend. And honestly, that's hard enough. Like, how polyamorous people do it is beyond me. Do you know how difficult it is for me to find like one quality woman that's open to committing to me? Like, that's hard enough. I mean, the idea of having 2 or 3 or 5, I'm not going to entertain that in my lifetime anyway. But no, in all seriousness, the idea of it adds a lot of additional complication and hassle and potential aggravation and I don't know. It's not something I think I could ever do. If it works for you, God bless you. I'm not going to criticize you for it. I'm not going to look down on you for it. It ain't for me. I'll be happy to find one person and focus on them. If Linus has engineers working for him, then he has more engineers. If he has one engineer working for him, then he's got more engineers working for him than I have working for me. I don't have a single engineer. I'm for a wealth cap for individuals. However, that will create brand new ways to people to cooperate and conspire to pool their wealth. And that doesn't sound like a new way to cooperate. That sounds like the opposite. What about jealousy? What about jealousy? See you later, XPYR. Hope you have a good evening. If you were me, which country aside from the US would you consider to migrate to? I'm getting the butterfly out of Russia. Sweden. I hear good things about Sweden. Sweden? Netherlands. Sweden. Netherlands? Netherlands. Sweden. US. Florida. Netherlands. Sweden. Florida. Florida. Some people hit rock bottom and stay there. They do. I was very close to it too. What do you think about DRM and batteries of perfectly working Android phones? It sounds like a disgusting concept. Is it right to ask how old are you? I am 33 years old. Are you going to die alone? I hope not. We'll see. I hope to, I don't know. I try to be a decent human being over the course of my life, which is a constant battle, constant fight. It's easy to be, it's easy to not be. I try to be a decent human being, and it is my hope that I manage to keep a circle of people so that I am not alone at the time of my death. It's easier said than done. Yeah, but Quinto Zero, even after that, it only adds up to a couple of percent. My cat Ruger has his own channel. Okay, that's cute. Your cat has a channel. Any advice on how to control your anger in a way to make sure you don't just erupt one day? My advice is to not do that. Don't do that. Seriously. I mean, anger is an important emotion. Anger is your body's natural cell. Like again, you have white blood cells for when a virus or a flu or something attacks you, right? That's what your white blood cells do. It's a natural defense mechanism. And anger, I think, is a natural defense mechanism when somebody attacks your human dignity. So, like, suppressing it is a bad thing. I think you need to know how to express it, but don't try to not express it. Are you opening another shop in New Hampshire? Hell no. They never did, Dark Monarch 007. They never did. I really like your channel. I can forgive you for loving cats, dude. You're the dude. I'll try to forgive you for loving dogs. Thoughts on Edward Snowden as a person? I used to be a big fan until he tweeted negatively about Kyle Rittenhouse suing news outlets and celebrities for libel and slander. This is what I despise about fans. So people will like me for one thing, but then they'll hate me for another thing, rather than just accepting that people are going to agree and disagree on a number of different topics. Why is it that you can respect Edward Snowden for what he did, but stop respecting him simply because you disagree with him on one political issue? Cut that out. I've dated people that I disagree with politically. I hire people that I disagree with politically. I have family members I disagree with politically. I have friends I disagree with politically. I've had business partners I disagree with politically. They're still in my life. I don't toss people out of my life like this because they disagree on one issue. You know how boring life would be if you did that to every single person? Stop that. Seriously, stop that. Try to meet people where they are. Try to understand where they're coming from. And you may not agree. But Air laptop no longer boots. Bad sectors. Can't back up to external hard drive. Is imaging the drive the best bet? If so, best imaging software. DD Rescue is free. I like using DD Rescue. I think I actually have a guide on it on my... Steve is going to absolutely kill me if I post this. Because if you use DD Rescue, you can also wind up taking a drive that is dying and turn it into completely dead and have the platters get scratched. So if this is a drive that you know you're never, ever, 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 ever going to want to pay to get recovered, I have this really pathetically bad garbage guide that I created a long time ago on how to use DD Rescue, and it's all free. It's very, very basic, and I just posted a link to it in the chat. I don't understand the point of that, Christy Serbin. You really kind of dug into that and missed the point entirely of what I was saying. The counter-argument is capitalism will always induce sociopathy. It seems like you had quite a few sociopaths leading the way in a lot of socialist and communistic systems in the past. They never seem to reach real communism. I think that's an inherent in human nature. That's the thing. Like, it's not capitalism bringing out greed and dark sides of people. That's already there. You just explained why poly doesn't work in practice for most guys. Polyamory only works if you're successful at attracting a lot of people. Again, I can attract one person. I will be happy as a pig in shit. But that is a difficult one. Again, like attracting 2 or 4 or 8, like good luck with that. Nah. We're here in the laundromat at the grocery. I can't answer the same question a million times, Sanga. Dude, if I'm married, anybody can do it. I'm bald and 47. I know, and you like dogs. Ugh. You say you don't count yourself an engineer. In my book, if you can read a circuit diagram and not SYP, you're an engineer, bound bonus using Linux. That doesn't make me an engineer. That means I did connect the dots as a kid. If you did connect the dots as a kid, you can follow a schematic. That doesn't make you an engineer. I don't even know what a coulomb is. Why do you think there are so few women in this field? I think because it's demeaning. Again, can I buy my parts from a normal vendor? No, I have to like dig through, random broken stuff. And if that doesn't work, I just wired money to somebody in China or Taipei that sent me stuff that I can't get my money back from. I can't ask the manufacturer for the parts because they won't make it available to me. I have to wait for a schematic to be leaked before I can do my job. And this is not being done so that I can make $100,000 a pop on these different projects. They're being done so that I could do repairs for end users for $45 to $300 a piece, and then have to deal with New York City rents, paying employees, insurance, taxes, and everything else on top of it. I think that in some way, shape, or form, that this is not seen as one of the, quote, higher-end jobs. This is kind of like the demeaning janitorial work in a lot of ways, and I think a lot of women just look at this and go, ugh, I'll do something else to make money. I don't know. Maybe they're too smart for it. I don't blame them. Actually, I forgot to plug in my camera. Give me a second. My shoulder just cracked. I don't know if you heard that. My shoulder just actually cracked. Ugh, I'm getting old. Forgot to plug it in. I had a feeling I was going to drop that again today. I just watched your video explaining on why you walked out without notice in an interview. Would that apply to walking out of a job for the dollar store over the gossiping about employees? Depends on what the gossip is, to be honest with you. I don't know. It depends on what they were gossiping for. I mean, I think I've gossiped about my employees to people before, but my employees also gossip about me, which I kind of expect them to do. You know, I mean, I'm their boss. I mean, they should be able to crap talk me when I'm not around, or even if I am around, but I'm just in the other room. Like that's just part of the part and parcel of the relationship, and it's just. Francois, you sound like Necron from Final Fantasy IX.
Sweet mercy.
Do you think there is an amount of money that you can have in your bank account that will tempt you to retire? Yes. I think I would probably retire for good if I had 1.3 million. 1.3 million and I think I'd be done. Maybe 2. Probably 1.3 to be honest with you. 1.3 million and I call it quits. But at the end of the day, it's not really about the money. Money is simply the score that kind of gives me an idea as to the impact of whatever it is that I did. You know, if I actually did have $1.3 million in the bank and I stopped doing all of my work, I probably would get bored and lose my mind and then start doing something just because I don't want to sit home all day. So it would most likely be a very short-lived retirement. But I think 1.3 million would be my number. What's your take on the over-glamorized version of New York City portrayed in movies? I think, well, most of the famous New York City movies appear to be really old, like 30 or 40 years old, and I can't really speak to what the city was like 30 years ago because I was 3 years old back then. I do know 100% that oh, hey, I'm walking here, like that's gone. That's in South Jersey, that's in Long Island, but that is not in New York City. Like that whole, hey, I'm walking here, like you see that in YouTube comments all the time. It's like you've never been in New York City if you think people actually talk like that here nowadays. Would you ever consider writing a book about your experiences? You've often shared valuable life lessons that have been helpful. No, my medium is YouTube. I think it's really important to know your medium and be successful in your medium. I don't know books. You're a Republican or a Dem? I don't know. I don't have any idea anymore. Every time I think I know what I am, I wind up having a conversation with someone and horrifying them. That's a garbage comment. You're out of here. Also hate people who are like, this person said something I think is wrong. Why'd you ever agree with something I ever said? Yeah, it's annoying. Because the thing is, you're going to surround yourself with people that only think exactly like you, and that's not going to go very well. And people can be, again, you're never going to find somebody that agrees with you on everything. And if you do, you should probably run. I was wondering what you think of places like Metro New York and Cali are built now to keep people poor, insane tax, no form of rent control, etc. New York City had rent control in apartments a while ago. It didn't seem to do much. It seemed to encourage developers to specifically build units that would be outside of rent control and do everything they could to get their current tenants out. Excluding people you disagree with means you're weak-minded and can't handle being challenged. I agree. I had a bunch of arguments with somebody today. I disagree with on every single thing there was. But the fun is being able to understand where the other person's coming from, and be able to. You should be able to engage with an idea that's not yours or that you disagree with in your brain without feeling cortisol flowing through your veins. It's an exercise. Can't keep answering the same question, Team Ad McGee. You keep asking it, I keep answering it.
Sweet mercy.
Girlfriend just moved within New York City and shows Optimum, but the connection keeps dropping. Is there a non-crappy cable ISP? Honestly, you have Fios in a lot of parts of New York City now. I would use Fios. Polite flight is worse than brain drain. Thoughts? You mean nice people leaving certain areas to be in other areas where people are mean? You mean when all the nice people leave a certain area? I can see that. Like again, if all the nice people leave an area and then you're stuck with people who are crappy to each other, I kind of wonder if that's what happened in New York City over time. Any thoughts on planned obsolescence of cell phones? I've got a couple. You can guess. Peggy, you're typing in all caps, which means what you're saying is most likely crazy. That's been my experience. I find it useful, Cesar. The idea of focusing on a mindset rather than just the math, I think that really is correct. And if I had done it a long time ago, I'd probably be way further along. What are some movies, television shows, or video games that can help fuel the entrepreneur mindset? I really like Shark Tank and rewatching Nightcrawler and Chef movies. Video games? I don't know. I like Final Fantasy IX because I think it really goes over the part of the human spirit. I was just discussing this with somebody the other day when it comes to meaning and purpose in life beyond just making money or a job. Final Fantasy IX really encapsulates what happens to people when they don't have a sense of meaning, when they do have a sense of meaning, how it changes them for the better in many different ways. I really enjoyed Final Fantasy IX for that as a video game. Movies, no idea. I don't watch many movies. And for books, Jim Camp, Start With No. Who was the last person who smiled at you? That's confidential. That is classified information. Can't say that. Store manager is SM is store manager, and she gossiped about us stealing to other higher ups. Accused me of stealing keys, but never did to my face. Froze when I asked her. So what I would probably do is I would tell the interviewer that that my manager was telling people that I was stealing when she had no evidence that I was stealing. And actually, no, that's hard because then I'm going to think you're a thief. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, tell me not to think of a pink elephant, and what's the first thing you think of? It's a pink elephant, right? So you can't tell somebody not to think of a pink elephant. So you don't want the boss of the new place to think that you're a thief. So you're kind of screwed there. Because if somebody told me they quit with no notice because their boss was gossiping about them being a thief, I would think, I can't risk somebody who's a thief here in any way, shape, or form. And like, no, I know this is very unfair, and I'm sorry that it is. I don't know you from a hole in the wall. So like, I'd want somebody to be truthful, but at the same time, if they told me that, I don't have an answer for you. Yeah, I'm sorry, Elijah James. Sometimes I don't have a good answer. Where do you find your schematics? VinaFix. VinaFix. I need to take a nap. It's time to take a nap. Feels weird taking a nap when it's sunny outside, but when you gotta take a nap, you gotta take a nap. Thank you, Eric Parnell. I appreciate that. Hello, Watch and Discover. Thank you. I sent my MacBook Pro 2021 model to your shop. Can you fix it for me? Paul will fix it for you.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Can Eli the computer guy come back? The channel of ultimate destiny. The channel of ultimate Stephen Bonnell? Is that what that is? Can Eli the computer guy come back? Maybe. I think he'll come back when he always comes back. Every time he leaves YouTube, just give it 2 weeks. But I think this time he means it. It's going to be more like 6 weeks now. It's hard to find parking in New York City because you have a space the size of Knoxville, Tennessee with 8.4 million people in it. Miami is a major city that has 5% the population of New York City. Nashville, Tennessee is a major city that has 5% the population of New York City.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Chicago is a major city that has maybe, I don't know, like 15% the population of New York City. When did you last think about the game you just lost? That was a movie with Michael Douglas. It wasn't a bad movie, but I wish that more was explained. I like Michael Douglas movies because he plays the same character in every single one, and it's interesting to see him play that character. What do you think of Eli leaving YouTube? I'm not becoming a new tech king. Are you kidding? Even like a month. I posted a board repair video a month ago. It got 7,000 views. Tronics Fix posts a board repair video. It gets like 800,000. I am happy to pass the torch on. Again, Tronics Fix, Paul Daniels, STS Telecom, VCC board repairs, TCRS circuit, iPad rehab. Like, the torch has been passed on. It's not here. This channel is deader than Russia's economy. But let's see. What's the upper limit of what you spend on a cell phone? Like $300 or $400? Ever since the Ukraine invasion, I questioned myself whether or not I would die fighting for America or flee. I think I would most likely flee, even though I would love to die for a cause. What do you think you would do? Depends on where I live, to be honest with you. It's hard for me to say because I'm in a transitionary period right now where I don't really even know where I'm going to end up. Like, if somebody started invading Brooklyn or Manhattan or something, I just don't see myself picking up a gun to defend that. I probably would if I had grown up in, I don't know. If I had grown up in New Hampshire or like Wisconsin or Brookfield, Wisconsin or something, I probably would have been open to, like picking up my rifle, taking pot shots at the people invading. I don't have that sense of pride in New York City. I just don't, even though I've always lived there. You open a repair store in New Hampshire when you move permanently? No, because I have no plans to move permanently because I don't know where I'm going to go. The whole point of renting an apartment in New Hampshire rather than buying a house was to be able to explore and figure out if that's the place that I should go to permanently. But right now I am a nomad. I live nowhere. What are you reading right now? Really bad YouTube comments. I am behind by 4 minutes. It's about time to get out of here. Dude, you look huge now. I've lost a lot of weight. That's an optical illusion. That is an optical illusion. Probably my camera lens got bent or something while I was in the bag on the plane. Are the kitties going to the new place? Maybe. Where are you, Lewis? Classified information. Lewis, how does it feel that you've inspired others the way you were inspired by your heroes? I don't know. I think my heroes did far more to impact people than I ever did. You take PED. I don't know what PED is, but that's very close to another word that starts with PED that I want nothing to do with. Thank you, Michael Knowles. Let's see. Okay, it's about time for me to get out of here. Will I ever stream Dota again? Probably not. Okay, it's dangerously close to getting out of here. Have you heard about... That's a perfect time to get out of here. I am happy you took off that sweater in the 94-degree aluminum ceiling building so you could eventually become who you are now. Thank you for sharing your common sense and a variety of things. Thank you, Varench. I appreciate that. I'm glad I did too, because making $6 an hour wasn't particularly fun.
Oh, sweet mercy.
Can't answer that question again, Shuand. I found an error on going for what? That's weird. I don't know where I'm going to be, Mr. A-Hop. No clue. Just making it up as I go along, to be honest with you. When do we... let's see. Do you think it is weak and shallow to push political views while innocent people are dying overseas? I think that's a question that really bad people would ask. When somebody, because if you applied that as a standard for anything, like, do you think it is selfish to push right to repair while someone is dying overseas? Do you think it is selfish to push for clean water legislation while people are dying overseas? There's something that's inherent. There's something really retarded inherent in that, which is that you can only do one thing at a time. That there is no such thing as like, you can't do two things. Like, you can't walk and chew gum at the same time. You can't try to make the world a better place here as long as the world is a bad place here. You can't try and fix X issue until you fix Y issue. And I think when you think about that, you would never actually solve it. Because let's say you have soldiers that are dying, right? Well, what about people that are put in prison illegally? What about people that are put in prison under false pretenses? What about people that are actually being murdered that didn't sign up to be in the army? What about normal people that die of random crimes? I mean, like, there's always a what about. There's always a why would you focus on this when you can focus on that? And I think it's a distraction that's used by really low quality human beings to mess with others and make them feel guilty about trying to actually have an impact on the world. And screw them. I still do it, Kento Zero, just not as often. But I'm keeping up at the 2 hours of cardio every day. 2 hours of cardio every day. 2 hours of cardio every day. The thing with exercise is that it's very easy to have an initial motivation, and then when you lose that initial motivation, you give up the routine. So I've just made it a very strict line in the sand that I just keep it going. It started based on a certain motivation, and when that motivation goes away, I'm still going to keep doing it. See you later, UGP.
Oh, sweet mercy.
You still have a job, but you must not care about Ukraine. Yeah, again, it's only the bottom of the barrel of society that's going to say stuff like that. How's your vacation going? Hope you're still getting all the rest and the energy recharge you want. You know, I haven't been able to get a lot of rest on this vacation for a number of different reasons. But it is most certainly the change of scenery and change of people that was useful for me. Very useful. With that being said, I hope that your new book that you're writing goes very well, Anne. I hope to read your manuscript when you are finally done with it. I look forward to it. How can you repair MacBooks when you quality troll? I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Okay. All right. Have a good night.